The brave Automedon, an honored name, the second to his lord in love and fame, in peace his friend and partner of the war. The winged coursers harnessed to the car, Xanthias and Balius of immortal breed, sprung from the wind and like the wind in speed, whom the winged harpy swift Podarge bore. By Zephyr pregnant on the breezy shore, swift Pedasus was added to their side, once great Aetion's, now Achilles' pride, who like in strength, in swiftness, and in grace, a mortal courser matched the immortal race. Achilles speeds from tent to tent, and warms his hardy Myrmidons to blood and arms. All breathing death, around the chief they stand, a grim, terrific, formidable band, grim as voracious wolves that seek the springs, when scalding thirst their burning bowels rings. When some tall stag, fresh slaughtered in the wood, has drenched their wide, insatiate throats with blood, to the black fount they rush, a hideous throng, with paunch distended and with lolling tongue. Fire fills their eye, their black jaws belch the gore, and gorged with slaughter still they thirst for more. Like furious rushed the Myrmidon crew, such their dread strength, and such their dread deathful view. High in the midst the great Achilles stands, directs their order, and the war commands. He, loved of Jove, had launched for Ilian shores full 50 vessels, manned with 50 oars. 5 chosen leaders the fierce bands obey, himself supreme in valor, or as in sway. First marched Menesthius, of celestial birth, derived from thee, whose waters washed the earth. Divine Sperchius, Jove descended flood, a mortal mother mixing with a god. Such was Menesthius, but miscalled by fame the son of Boris, that espoused the dame. Eudorus next, whom Polymele the gay, famed in graceful dance, produced today. Her sly Selenius loved, on her would gaze, as with swift step she formed the running maze. To her high chamber from Diana's choir, the god pursued her, urged and crowned his fire. The son confessed his father's heavenly race, and aired his mother's swiftness in the chase. Strong Echecleus, blessed in all those charms that pleased the gods, succeeded to her arms, not conscious of those loves, long hid from fame. With gifts of price he sought and won the dame. Her secret offspring to her sire she bare. Her sire caressed him with a parent's care. Pisander followed, matchless in his art, to wing the spear or aim the distant dart. No hand so sure of all the Emathian line, or if a surer, great Patroclus thine. The 4th by Phoenix's grave command was graced. Laertes' valiant offspring led the last. Soon as Achilles with superior care had called the chiefs and ordered all the war, this stern remembrance to his troops he gave. Ye far-famed Myrmidons, ye fierce and brave, think with what threats you dared the Trojan throng. Think what reproach these ears endured so long. Stern son of Peleus, thus ye used to say, while restless raging in your ships you lay, or nursed with gall, unknowing how to yield, whose rage defrauds us of so famed a field. If that dire fury must forever burn, what make we here? Return, ye chiefs, return. Such were your words. Now, warriors, grieve no more. Lo, there the Trojans, bathe your swords in gore. This day shall give you all your soul demands, glut all your hearts, and weary all your hands. Thus while he roused the fire in every breast, close and more close the listening cohorts pressed, ranks wedged in ranks. Of arms a steely ring still grows and spreads and thickens round the king, as when a circling wall the builder forms, of strength defensive against wind and storms. Compacted stones the thickening work compose, and round him wide the rising structure grows. So helm to helm and crest to crest they throng, shield urged on shield, and man drove man along. Thick undistinguished plumes together joined, float in one sea and wave before the wind. Far o'er the rest in glittering pomp appear, there bold Automedon, Patroclus here. Brothers in arms, with equal fury fired, 2 friends, 2 bodies with one soul inspired. But mindful of the gods, Achilles went to the rich coffer in his shady tent. There lay on heaps his various garments rolled, and costly furs, and carpets stiff with gold, the presence of the silver-footed dame. From thence he took a bowl of antique frame, which never man had stained with ruddy wine, now raised in offering to the power divine, but Peleus' son, and Peleus' son to none had raised in offerings but to Jove alone. Thus this tinged with sulphur, sacred first to flame, he purged, and washed it in the running stream. Then cleansed his hands, and fixing for a space his eyes on heaven, his feet upon the place of sacrifice, the purple draught he poured forth in the midst, and thus the god implored, O thou supreme, high-throned all height above, O great Pelasgic, Dodonian Jove, who, midst surrounding frosts and vapors chill, presidest on bleak Dodona's vocal hill, whose groves the Selli race austere surround, their feet unwashed, their slumbers on the ground, who hear from rustling oaks thy dark decrees, and catch the fates low whispered in the breeze. Here, as of old, thou gavest, at Thetis' prayer, glory to me and to the Greeks' despair. Lo, to the dangers of the fighting field, the best, the dearest of my friends I yield. Though still determined to my ships confined, Patroclus gone, I stay but half behind. O, be his guard, thy providential care, confirm his heart, and string his arm to war. Pressed by his single force, let Hector see his fame and arms, not owing all to me. But when the fleets are saved from foes and fire, let him with conquest and renown retire. Preserve his arms, preserve his social strain, and safe return him to these eyes again. Great Jove consents to half the chief's request, but heaven's eternal doom denies the rest. To free the fleet was granted to his prayer, his safe return the winds dispersed in air. Back to his tent the stern Achilles flies, and waits the combat with impatient eyes. Meanwhile, the troops beneath Patroclus' care invade the Trojans and commence the war. As wasps, provoked by children in their play, pour from their mansions by the broad highway, in swarms the guiltless traveler engage, whet all their stings, and call forth all their rage. All rise in arms, and with a general cry assert their waxen domes and buzzing progeny. Thus from the tents the fervent legion swarms, so loud their clamors and so keen their arms. Their rising rage Patroclus' breath inspires, who thus inflames them with heroic fires. O warriors, partners of Achilles' praise, be mindful of your deeds in ancient days. Your godlike master let your acts proclaim, add new glories to his mighty name. Think your Achilles sees you fight? Be brave, and humble the proud monarch whom you save.